together and you got my order. And it makes perfect sense to the lion. But the other personalities are looking at him like, dude, you can't do that. And he looks at him like, just do it. The lions are bold. You don't have to ask them what they're thinking. They're going to tell you what they're thinking. They may tell you what you're thinking. They do. It's not that they mind that they're bullies or anything, but conflict in and of itself doesn't scare them. They don't mind confrontation. So remember, if you go looking for a fight, they're not going to let you leave disappointed. There's going to be a fight. They're going to argue. In fact, they love to argue. They don't like questions, but they love debates. In fact, sometimes if about the time they think they've persuaded you, they'll change sides just to keep it going. So think about it. If you get suckered into the dumb responding to dumb questions like, why? Why I got to do it that way? Or even dumber statements. That's not fair. How many of you, go ahead, raise your hand. You know you've been suckered into that. See, that's where kids use our greatest tool, distraction. And they turn it into a weapon against us. And those of you who've been through Love and Logic know when your kid says something stupid and you know they're trying to get you to argue, you go brain dead, right? And when they say, it's not fair, what do you say? I know. And you just refuse to argue. But you have to be careful because lions, you don't want to teach them to fight and that everything's a fight. Because they're already set for that. And they'll, if you're not careful, they'll learn to fight dirty. They'll fight at all cost. Going to win at all cost because they're competitive too. You want to teach a potty trained a lion? Tell him it's a contest. Immediately. Oh, I thought you were trying to take control here because I'm in control down here because there's nothing you can do about me doing down here. This is my territory, you people. But once you say, oh, but it's a contest, I'll race you. Wait. I want this inside lane. Okay, now let's go. So, understanding what makes them tick and what ticks them off is going to help you with your flexible response. So you can raise the best little lion that you can raise. They need credit for good work, too. When that lion gets up from that nap, you have to say, you took a good nap. When they make their bed, and at some point we expect them to, we teach them to make their bed, we want them to make their bed, you have to say, saw you made your bed today. Even when it's expected work, task, you have to give them credit for good work. Even when they're grown. My husband's a lion personality. And if I am away during the day and I come back and he's done anything at the house, I truly, because part of me is thinking, alert the media. Because Goldens have the tendency to be a little sarcastic. But I can't say that. I have to say, wow, I appreciate that. And if I notice it before he can tell me, because they need credit for good work. So think about if you're the type who says, well, I did it and I don't need a parade. Well, you don't. They do. And they're also built for achievement. Get her done. Let's do something even if it's wrong. Boredom is their enemy. So they need supervision. Okay? the otter personality. Anybody over here? Yeah. You want an otter giving out your door prizes. The crappier the door prize, the more otter you need. Because otters are king and queens of the woohoo! And let's face it, some of us are saying, whoa. It is too early for woohoo. I don't care if you got donuts. Otters, they are here for the party. They are the extrovert of extroverts. They never meet a stranger. They go to Walmart and make a new best friend. And I know a thing or two about otters because I gave birth to the Otter King, our oldest son. Early on, he would have scored a perfect score on the otter column. Now, life and parenthood and corporate America have brought him into balance. And that's what we want. There's nothing wrong with being a strong lion, but you need to be able to cultivate if it's not already there. And we do that in part through our experiences and through our relationships. And oftentimes through our mistakes. That otter has to have some beaverish moments. See, his staff love him because he's fun. His boss loves him because he can balance the budget. It's about that balance. Otters, like I said, organize their life in piles. If you've ever ridden around in the car with an otter, now they may be very beaverish about their car, and then it's completely in order. But if it's a true, especially if it's an out of whack otter, you would swear they're living in their car. There's stuff in there all the time. Fast food wrappers, empty soda cans, full soda cans, clothes, DVDs. There may be a blender in there. You just don't want to ask. You open up the car door, stuff falls out. And that makes perfect sense to them because, I'll just leave it in there, I might need that. I don't remember the last time my son played golf, but he has got clubs in his car and he is ready at any moment. He can't get the kids' backpacks in there, but he can get his golf clubs in there. Otters, if you have a child who's been diagnosed with ADHD, you may have an out-of-whack otter. And it's not that they can't pay attention. It's just what we want them to pay attention to, they don't want to. And they have a hard time sitting still. So think about that child who has to sit still at school all day long. If you have any pull or any influence at your child's school, you need to be pushing to make sure that they're not digging into their recess time. A district down in Texas has added horrors. Now they have 3 20-minute recess periods during the school year. Test results up. Behavioral referrals down. Maybe they're onto something. Kids need movement, especially our little otters. They're built for activity, for fun, for adventure. How many of us as moms are thinking, oh, safety first. Be careful, be careful, be careful, don't do that. Our little otter children, safety third. Fun and adventure come first and second. They take risk as part of life. But again, God's got a sense of humor and he is good. So the Otter King has a little boy. The Otter Prince. I used to tell him, you're too cute for your own good. He's 8 now, he's not that cute. Yeah, they start losing teeth, and they got more arms and legs, and they're just real gangly, and it's like, no, you're not so cute anymore. In fact, I told him the other day, I said, you're not near cute enough to get away with that anymore. I love him, but he's just not as cute as he used to be. Now, he's going to be a handsome young man, I know, but 8-year-old, no. But he never meets a stranger. We went to Disney. An otter in Disney, and I mean, that's kind of like, actually that's beaver hell, is what that is. So the otter is there, and he has figured out that in these performances that they do and demonstrations that they always bring people up. So the first time when they're doing the drummers, he gets up there, and that's how he figured out, you can get up there and play. You can become part of the performance. And see, otters love to perform. So the next day, we're at the Hollywood Studios part, and over in the Toy Story section. And in marches the little green, and you have to, if you've never been to Disney, it's amazing how they do some of this stuff. And so these 4 adults who do this for a living, they get paid to pretend that they are toy soldiers. Do we live in a great country or what? So they're marching in, and Taylor, as soon as they get stopped, Taylor shoots over there. I'm thinking, what's he doing? And come to find out, he was asking, are you going to take a call of volunteers? And I heard her say, in just a minute. And he says, okay. So he just steps aside. And as soon as they start, they do some of their drills, and then he says, we need to expand our platoon. There's Taylor. And it's funny because the guy, he was great. He says, oh, look, and he brought snacks. Do you have them for everybody? And Taylor looked like, no, these are my crackers. It's like I had to wrestle them away from my brother and my Big D. You got no chance of getting these crackers. I don't care how green you are. But they see risk, they see adventure as fun. They're here for the party. This is the kid who, if you've gotten a report card or a note from any structured classroom setting for your kid, and it says something like this, talks too much. And you can't embarrass them. It is absolutely humanly impossible to embarrass an otter because they assume everybody is laughing with them, not at them. Now they say things sometimes without thinking. They just open their mouths to see what's going to jump out. And they get in trouble. But they don't mean harm and say, oh, I said that. Who was listening? I wasn't listening. I can't believe you were. And I'm not saying they're big fat liars. But they don't let facts interfere with a good story. Even when they're grown, they have the tendency to exaggerate. Now, think about if you're that strong beaver personality and you're that, just the facts, ma'am, just the facts. And you got this otter who is just spinning yarns. And all you're thinking is, liar, liar, liar. In fact, you went to go get the fire extinguisher. It's like, yeah, those pants are going to start. Yeah, they're just spontaneous combust any minute now because that's a big fat whopper they're telling. Even when they're called out, they say, that didn't happen. Oh, I know, but wouldn't it have been cool if it had? They're here for the party. If we didn't have lions in the world, we wouldn't get anything done. But if we didn't have any otters in our life, we wouldn't have any fun while we did it. Okay? Those are the 2 extroverts. They need people. It doesn't mean they get along with people. It doesn't mean they like people. It means they need people. Lions need people. It's no fun bossing yourself around. How can you be the life of the party as an otter if you don't have people to party? Emotionally, they need attention, acceptance, approval. And like I said, they need activity. So if you're more of that sitter type person, don't be surprised if God doesn't bring you an otter in some shape, form, some way into your life, because you need, that's going to how your flexible response is going to get exercised, is they're going to help you move around. The golden personality. The Goldens. Calm, cool, and collected. Not sure what they're collecting, but they're calm and cool while they do it. They announce, I'm excited. Now see, they're loyal. Every ounce in their body oozes loyalty, which means lions think Goldens are hot. Because lions as leaders need loyalty. Goldens are loyal. Lions are decisive. Goldens made one decision. Not going to make a lot of decisions. And so initially, it's a match made in heaven. Until that day, that dreaded day, where the golden has just had enough. And you hear him say, "You're not the boss of me." Because the lion's trying to tell everybody what to do. And the golden usually they're very loyal, very easygoing, even keel. They're kind of the kumbaya of personalities. They're almost chameleon-like. If you have 4 otters and a golden, you don't know the golden's in the mix, because they're going with the flow. Now, if you have 5 goldens going on a road trip, you don't even need a tank of gas. Because they're going to sit in the parking lot. Would you like to drive? No, I drove last time. I'll have to let you drive. Would you like to drive? Well, we can take my car. You're going to take your car. Where would you like to go? It doesn't matter to me. Wherever you'd like to go. What would you like to do? And they'll sit all afternoon in the parking lot, have a very pleasant afternoon. The lion comes in, "Get in the car!" And one's not right, one's not wrong. They're just different. And it's our job as mothers and wives is to help bring balance to ourselves. So we're modeling that for our children, but to make sure that that little golden, see, we give lions choices so they know who's in charge. We give goldens choices so they learn to become capable, confident in their ability to make choices and make decisions for themselves. Because it's real easy, if you're a strong lion personality and you have that little golden, to make all their decisions for them. And then at 18, you're thinking, "Okay, little birdie, get out of the nest. It's time for you to fly." And they say, "Whatever." Because that's their word, whatever. Because they don't want to have a lot of conflict. In fact, conflict is uncomfortable for them, because goldens are built for comfort. Otters, they don't like conflict because it's no fun. Although once in a while they do like to poke someone with a stick to see what happened. But if I've got a strong golden and they're very, very golden and not very decisive by nature, and I make all their decisions for them, here, drink this, here, wear this, here. They're ready to go out for that independence, and they go out to that village, and they still haven't learned to be capable and confident in their decision making, so they go find someone to do it for them. And what if that person doesn't have their best interest at heart? So as easy as it is for lions to make decisions, they have to understand goldens don't do it as easily. So they need lots and lots of practice. And that's why choices are our top shelf tool as a parent. Goldens don't like a lot of stress. Lions stress them out. In fact, sometimes they think, "Oh, I was being encouraging." No, you stressed me out. Goldens, even keel, easy going. Lions think rocking boats. Boats are made for rocking. Otters think rocking boats is fun. Beavers say, if you're going to rock the boat, do it right. Goldens are saying, please don't rock the boat. See, the same activity, very simple activity, but different approach that comes natural to the personalities. The golden, we have a name for the golden around our house, where if the otter has just poked them with the stick too much and the lion has stressed them out, we call it going Cujo. Remember Cujo? Stephen King's work, that guy, that sweet-natured creature who just went rabid. That's what happens when you keep poking the golden. If you don't, as a lion, you can, stop, drop on a dime with 9 cents change. Goldens don't do that. If you could put if they're in a rut, they'll decorate it. See, lions and otters are all about spontaneity. You're going to have to give a golden a week to 10 days if you want to be spontaneous. Now, that doesn't make a bit of sense to the otter or the lion. But the golden says, oh, no, I can't do that. Let's just don't. Yeah, but the people pleasing, and so it actually stresses them out if they don't think they've made you happy, but you haven't helped them do what they want to do to make you happy. Okay? The lion uses anger or the threat of it to control their world and their relationships. You just don't want to make them mad. They're kind of scary. The otter, they use charm. We've all been charmed, if not downright conned, by an otter. When you hear an otter say, "It'll work! Trust me!" Worse yet, if you hear this coming from the basement or the backyard, "Hey, y'all, watch this." You better watch, you need to go check it out. Because I'm still trying to convince the 8-year-old otter prince that he cannot ride his bicycle down the treehouse steps. Because as fun as it might be, and even though he has his bicycle helmet on, it still would not be safe. If I don't know, and through that careful observation, which critter I got, I'm not going to be able to keep them safe. Because keeping an otter safe is very different than keeping a golding. The golden's never going to touch the hot stove. Not on. Now the otter will say, "Hot? Ooh, yeah."
How hot is it?
Yeah, but the golden, if you tell them it's hot, especially if I don't want you to touch that, then in their mind is, oh, I want to be pleasing to you, so I'm not going to do those things. They control their world with procrastination. They will, especially if you push, and the lions have that tendency to push, and then suddenly that golden is going to not. How many of you as goldens have done something that you know that you've procrastinated simply because someone's tried to make you do it before you were ready? Yeah. Lion husband comes home and says, "Hey, I need you to pick up that. Would you pick up those? They're cleaning from. I got some shirts in there I need Friday. Now this is on Monday, and so I've got time. We're good. I don't have to run immediately to do that. In fact, I know what my schedule is, and I know exactly when I'm going to plan to do that. Tuesday he comes in. Did you get that cleaning? And then it's, oh no, you didn't. It's disheartening because one, I know that all 4 of these critters come in pink and blue. You have pink lions and you have blue goldens, and although the blue goldens are constantly having to defend their masculinity, and the pink lions are having to, we don't just call them bossy. We have some other less flattering, terribly inappropriate adjectives to describe that pink lion. And your leadership doesn't have a gender. It's a characteristic, and so it can be male or female. We also know that there's pretty much an equal distribution. Now, if this was a convention of certified public accountants, it'd probably be wall-to-wall beaver. You don't want an otter doing your taxes. Close enough is not what we need to tell the IRS. But beavers, for some reason, oftentimes, they look at that thing, it's like, oh, I don't want to be a beaver. I want to be an otter. I want to be golden. My mother's a beaver in denial. She thinks she's golden. The only golden characteristic she has is she does hold a grudge. I found that out when I told her she wasn't a golden. Beavers want to do everything right. And there's a right way to do everything. Do you know how beavers know it's right? Al? Is that me?
Yeah, I'm going to move it over.
Beavers have there's a right way to do everything. And my twin sister's a strong beaver personality. You should see her sock drawer. It's a work of art. It's absolutely beautiful. There's rows and rows of perfectly folded socks going from darkest to lightest. And there's a right pair of socks for every outfit. She was visiting one time, and I was already at the venue, and she was calling. She says, Lisa Gay, I forgot my blue socks. Can I borrow your blue socks? Where are your blue socks? Walmart. I don't own blue socks. I have black socks, white footies, and orange socks for game day. That's it. Now see, otters, they don't even match socks. Life's too short. And now, because otters now sell mismatched socks. I know. And they're making money doing it, and there's beavers in the corner just having an absolute breakdown. Now laundry day is hell for beavers. Because they put them together, it's like, oh, that's not right. And then they mismatch them and say, oh, that's definitely not right. So there's just a basket of socks that are just, becoming the bane of the existence of beavers. There's a right way to do everything. You ask a beaver, how do you fold a towel? Actually, if you ask two beavers, how do you fold a towel? There might be a fight. Because one's going to say, everybody knows the proper way to fold a towel is half, half, half.
Thirds.
And the other beaver will look at him like, were you raised in a barn? Everybody knows the proper way. Half, half, third. Others say, oh no, you fold it in half and then you roll it. And the otters in the room said, folding towels, who knew? One's not right, one's not wrong, they're just different. And what we have to do, as long as it's not a salvation issue, sometimes we have to be willing to say, you know what, your way works for you, go for it. Life's too short to really fight over folded towels. But if you're thinking, but it's so important, Lisa, then that's where you say, I love that you want to help fold the towels. This is how I'd like you to do it. And if it's that important to you, how it's done. Because if you have a little golden whose primary love language is acts of service, and they see you refolding the towels that they folded for you because they love you, you've just rejected that child to their very core. And that's not what we want to do as parents, as mothers. Beavers use mood as their way to control their world, their relationships. See, there's 3 Davis sisters. I'm the golden, my twin sister's the beaver, our older sister's the lion. We don't have an otter, so I have to be the otter sometimes. Because goldens are adaptable like that. We'll be one, because we're people pleasers. And every once in a while, when the beaver gets really uptight, my older sister looks at it, she goes, don't you say it, Lisa. Don't you do it, because she knows I've gone into otter mode. And I'm getting ready to poke the beaver with the stick. And she goes, oh, you know how that happens. She's so moody if you do that. It'll ruin the rest of the weekend. Because once you get into otter mode, it's like, fine. It's the driving force. Otters also, we said lions don't like boredom. Otters live in mortal fear of boredom. You can die from it. They will swear it happened to a friend. So, you see, keeping them safe, helping them become the best version of themselves, first I have to know what I'm dealing with. That's the careful observation. I have to start with some self-awareness, because if I am that very intense beaver and I have that out-of-whack otter, you don't have a goodness of fit. It is the proverbial square peg in the round hole. And children don't have a flexible response. That's up to us. Our flexible response is going to grow that bond with them, and it's going to help them, bring them into balance. So we rub off on each other, usually while we're rubbing each other the wrong way. Part of, you don't get, if I had not raised an otter king, I could not be up here. Because I can remember even in graduate school, that list of, the things that scare you the most, public speaking is higher than death. That was me. And even then, when I have to get into otter mode to get up here. Because I've been at conferences where there'll be people around, and somebody will meet me in the lobby or anything, and then they see me do a presentation, and they say, "Do you have a twin?" I said, "Yes, I do." And they say,